CFR Network, CFR Sports. Another interesting combat sports weekend. A few promotions had some events. Bellator not on that tab. Let's start off with, let's work our way back actually. UFC Fight Night. Holmes, is it Caitlin Viera? Not the most. Then this is the second main event in a row now, where it hasn't been. It's been pretty lackluster, should we say? Lots of grappling and stuff, and a very interesting decision. Now, based upon the multiple MMA podcasts I've listened to, the consensus seems to be that it's a 50-50. 50% gave it to Holmes and 50% gave it to Viera. Now, that's fair enough. She definitely landed the more impactful strikes. But this is a mixed martial arts contest and you need to score, there's multiple criterias. Control, grappling, strikes, there's lots of different criterias. Now, based upon that, whilst not an exciting fight, to me, it looked like Holly Holm did pretty more than enough to win that fight. At least 3 rounds, in my humble opinion, she took. But yeah, one take which was highlighted on the live broadcast with the UFC was obviously highlighting the age of Holly Holm. She wants to make another run, etc., etc., and also how slow she looked. I think the combinations were very predictable. She shouts, obviously, once she's striking. Many women seem to do that, which is a very big tell. As I say, the combinations were just very predictable. But she did, again, in my humble opinion, she did more than enough to actually take that victory. So it was shocking. I mean, clearly shocking to Caitlin because she was on the floor, crying, so happy and stuff. Holly has definitely improved as a fighter. Before, she was obviously very much a striker coming from a boxing and kickboxing background, but she's definitely rounded out her skills. Age has definitely has caught up to her. There's definitely more left in the tank. Can she win the strap back? That's the question. 135. It's interesting. It's interesting. Never say never, but it's unlikely. It's definitely unlikely. But you never know in this crazy world called combat sports, especially within the UFC. So yeah, interesting to see how this plays out. I haven't heard much from Mr. Dana White. I don't think he was at the event. Pretty sure he wasn't. Another Apex card again. During the height of the lockdowns and stuff, I think many people kind of enjoyed just a different look and feel of the fights. I think many people commented, pretty much the same, that it was a bit more of an intimate affair. But as we have come out of the quote unquote zombie apocalypse, the UFC is just being cheap. Like they're cheating the athletes and the fans out of the experience. And I think, well, it's noticeable, and many fighters do say that it helps and just brings the extra dimension having the fans in. So sort it out, man. Like, what's going on? We're quote unquote back to normality of sorts, even though, and interestingly, I'm surprised no one's even really spoken about this. They're going to UFC Singapore. Now, Singapore is still very stringent in regards to the zombie apocalypse and all that kind of stuff. One championship have been that's been their home in essence since the lockdown. Very limited audiences, etc. If they have had audiences, depending on the spikes and all that kind of stuff of cases. And I don't think as many people are aware of how strict it's going to be to actually attend said events. With the if you're not vaccinated, the multiple tests that needs to be done, etc., etc. That's tricky. That is, I'll be interested to see what that event actually looks like. That live event with fans, because the numbers are clearly going to be restricted. So yeah, interested to see how that plays out, what the experience is, and ultimately how the fights play out. But yeah, UFC, sort it out. Stop being cheap. Just go to some more places. You've been very much Florida and Texas heavy, which is all good. Um, a lot of states are open. A lot of states are open. Give the fans what they want, and look, you're saving money, but you're clearly making a lot of money on the gates and stuff. Depending on how much the production costs are, etc. I'm sure it's a win-win. Well, it's more of a win-win. Obviously, doing it at the apex clearly because you're adhering to the contract you have with ESPN, producing and providing said content on a weekly basis. Even though it's very much watered down now. Pretty sure all combat fans will say the same thing or something similar. There used to be a bit of an excitement. So, UFC is coming on. It'd be like every month or so, or every other month. And the frequency, yeah, it was good. It was good initially, but they're not making very good cards at all. I mean, they're interesting, name value wise. It's they're just stacking them on these pay-per-views and stuff, and it's not necessarily turning out the best. I think they could spread it out a lot more. Pay-per-view prices have gone up as well. So I guess that's why they want to give quote unquote perceived added value by having so much big names on there. Pardon self. So yeah, you see, strange space at the moment. It's very much, in my opinion, the WWF or WWE, as they're now known as, of combat sports. It's very much sports entertainment versus, the core of what we tuned into initially. No. UFC, we'll see what's going on. One championship, did the Thizzle Wiggle. One more again. 157. Petch Moikat took on Benoit even. Now, I've watched this event a few times now, and it was close. It was a split decision when all the 5 rounds. Jimmy was putting in a tremendous amount of work. And based upon what he was doing, I really thought that we had a double upset featherweight Muay Thai World Championship. I thought we had a new champion from France. Congratulations to both competitors. Pejmori Cox, I don't think he turned up in the first couple rounds. Again, in my humble opinion, he gave / Jimmy took those 3 rounds. He came on very heavy towards the end of this contest. It was definitely still close, but I think Jimmy did enough. I really think Jimmy did enough to get that victory. Very close match. Chatry, run that back again. Please run that back one more again. Before I get into the Cole, which was the strawweight Muay Thai Championship, and new third round TKO, Italy Moroccan champion Joseph Lasuri. This was a striking extravaganza with, was it one or two? No, it was one MMA fight, I think, was it? With the women, and two grappling matches. Now, my only criticism is on this card itself. I think you should have just kept it all striking, personally. And secondly, in regards to the grappling, the grapplers you brought in, I don't think enough was done in regards to the promotion to really, because that's really much an American sort of South American even as well. Very big over there. And I said there's a very big culture, and the two little young twins who came in and put in some extremely good work. I don't think they, as I say, they promoted that event as much. And I think actually they could have put that on another card where there was more mixed martial arts. I think they should have potentially just left this as a strike fest, Muay Thai heavy, and put that grappling card onto a mixed martial art and more heavy card, just to even it out, because strikers, this was a striking card. To throw the grappling element on there, I can understand, you're building it up and stuff, but it would have been better on a wider stage. Co-main event, Prachchai, you know me, I kill the names. Apologies. Didn't look, he just looked off. Joseph Lasuri was just going all of the way. He was slick, the movement, the power. He just put on a quote unquote clinic on the former champ, to the point where you could do a rematch because of what he's done. But man, I think unless he really steps his game up, I think that's going to be pretty much the same. It's going to be the same thing. But I think he's deserving to getting a rematch in this respect. Quarterfinal, flyweight, Grand Prix, Rutang took on Jacob Smith for the UK. JS, Jacob Smith, representing a fellow countryman representing that UK, was very high of sorts, very happy to see him in there. He looked like he came physically very much prepared for this tremendous uphill battle. As soon as the bell went, though, Rotang just, I don't know. Well, he just did his usual thing. A lot more composed, though, a lot more strategic. He wasn't just raw walking him down and stuff. Very technical destruction of Jacob. And I think Jacob was disappointed in his performance. He got battered, lots of blood. He could take the punches. It wasn't like he was dazed. He was just getting outclassed. The elbows were nasty. He was doing some down the middle elbows through the guards, split him up quite a few times. That was a demolition. The Iron Man, aka the Demolition Man, aka with a little bit more power, Rotang will be absolutely dangerous. Well, he's dangerous at the moment, but like he'd be unstoppable. Touch more power, he's taking everyone's head off. Jacob was able to withstand the power, was not able to match the technique and the finesse of Watang. And at the end, he was that pissed off. He wouldn't even kneel down with him, when they show respect to each other. He was just pissed off with himself. And I think not just one. Here's a criticism for a lot of these promotions. Stay in, unless they're talking mad garbage or trash or rubbish, as we say over here. Let's hear what they got to say at the end of the fight, man. Keep the camera in there, keep the sound on, don't cut away and all this stupid stuff. But it's from what they showed, Jacob was very, very, very upset with his performance, and he was basically saying, I don't know what I was doing. He was hitting me and stuff, and I could take you, put your shots, but I just couldn't do what I came here to do, kind of thing. It was yeah, man, it was disappointing. I think that's his debut as well. And trustfully, he's going to come back and he's going to look a lot better, a lot better. Lightweight submission grappling. Gary Tonin, who just came off a defeat of Ton Lee, a stunning first round victory, took on the young, making his debut, Tai Rotolo. I've never even, because obviously grappling isn't necessarily my forte. I enjoy it, but I don't necessarily watch it like that. But apparently these two guys, the Rotolo twins, are making some waves in the grappling scene. So they've come over again. Very little promotion. Didn't really even. I knew about the previous grappling matches because there was a bit more promotion in that respect. But these, again, didn't know anything. Know of Gary Tonin, the Danaher Death Squad. There was nothing about a Death Squad in this particular thing. Ty came out very, very quickly and did the thing. It was God, was it how was it again? An anaconda choke or something like that. He got him real quick, man. Like a minute odds, 1 minute something into the first round. Gary must be very, very disappointed with his performance. Obviously, he's been concentrating a lot more on mixed martial arts versus grappling and stuff. And these are young. This is the thing. The new generation have they have a little bit, not all, and a lot of the times experience can overcome the young energy and stuff. But these youngsters, man, this new generation are coming up doing some stuff, man. Shinya Aoki lightweight submission just before Cades Fritolo. And also to add to this as well, they reduced the minutes of the round. I think it was 9-minute round, 9 minutes, 10 minutes or something before it was longer. So they reduced it down. And I think there's been another slight rule set change in there somewhere in regards to the way they score it. I think it's submissions. Again, a bit more transparency. Obviously, the Michael and Mitch did their best to and Checha was on as well, Marcus. I think at the start there could have been a graphic to say, okay, well, how are we scoring this? It's not a 10-point must system. It's not the global rule set. What's the scoring criteria kind of thing? I think that would have helped the uninitiated in regards to the grappling side. But Shinya did okay. He fought off multiple submission attempts. Wasn't able to get the submission in the end, Cade, but it was pure domination. The kick off the fence, little jobby to get into the mount, and to get his back and stuff was excellent, man. It was very innovative. Yeah, just place these grappling fights on mixed martial arts cards. That'll be better. Quarterfinals. Unfortunately, the general Jonathan Haggerty had to pull out of this Grand Prix. Very disappointed. Trust he's well, and it's nothing too serious. But Cruz from Mexico, which I'm sure again made his debut, came in and unfortunately didn't have a good showing. Walter just like first round KO. Nice work, man. Very nice work. And progresses on. Oh, here's a super leg. Oh my days. I was kind of Niato. I thought his performances prior to this were very, very good, and I thought he had a very good chance in you know, in pretty much going all the way. But Super Leg put a flipping stop to that, man. He looked he looked very much on point, man. 3 round unanimous decision. Couldn't actually put him out, but hey, that was that was real good. That was a real good performance. We've got some strong contenders, man. We've got some very strong contenders in this this Grand Prix, and that belt. Let me just add that belt. Yeah, and it's even heavier. Well, the tournament belt previously that DJ won and Stamp won was massive anyway, but with the additional weight, and these guys were only small. It's going to be tricky, man. It's going to be tricky maneuvering that around. Whoever can get that Grand Prix straight up. Yeah. I think a step up in competition a bit too much for Taki Nieto. Where are we? Where are we? Unanimous decision win. Savas Michael and Amir Nasri. This was an entertaining one. Sabas looked real good. Wasn't from recollection, I don't think that was a close fight. Now, Elise Anderson, submission round 1, mixed martial art fight. Took on Roka from India. Correct me if I'm wrong. Hasn't Elise? She's a kickboxer or Muay Thai fighter, right? I'm sure I've seen her compete in that realm. She did good, man. And she was very emotional. Nice little submission that she caught her in. In the comments, just correct me if you know about this Elise young lady. She looked real good, quick, in and out. Featherweight kickboxing. Mohammed took on David. David looked. He was trying, but he was a step behind for the whole fight. For the whole fight, he was just getting eaten up by the youngster. And as you can see, yeah. Those were the highlight fights for me. Let me go back to the UFC. Michelle Pereira and Santiago Ponzinibbio. That was a good fight, man. That was the best fight on the card of that UFC event. And since Ponzinibbio's come back from that health issue that he had, his physique has looked dramatically different in regards to his lack of muscle and overall size. Now, in comparison to Michel Pereira, He looked he looked like two different weight classes. Now we know my man's big already, but it just really showed that the size difference. And congratulations to Michelle Pereira for the win and for calming your ass down. All that jumping shit, it looks cool, extends a lot of energy. And with some early on in your career, fighting the people you were fighting, yeah, you can get away with that. I actually picked the underdog to beat you. That God, what was his name? Yeah. Uh and he was just durable and he was just doing way too much. So the more calmed technical approach, we didn't see none of that wild stuff. He was just literally just fighting. Um I think that was a very good performance. There's clearly some areas he needs to sharpen up on. Very much a striking fest. Ponzinibbio obviously wasn't happy with the decision, which is understandable, but that was a good fight. Good fight of the they should both get some money for that fight. Performance of the night kind of thing, or whatever the hell they do. Very last one, Eagle FC 47. Dos Santos versus De Castro, both two former UFC fighters. Clearly, Eagle FC are still have obviously a good relationship with the UFC, being its Habib's promotion and all. So a lot of UFC former fighters are on this promotion. Disappointing end to the main event. It was a good back and forth. I think Junior was actually winning that. He looked very good. He looked a lot better than he has in his previous performance, and physically he looked like he came in ready to go. Had him up against, had De Castro up against, and De Castro, he's tough, man. He was just winging, no jabs, hardly any jabs and stuff. Um, can see, and you've had a lot of knockouts that way, but you ain't getting to the target quick enough with these hooks and all that, man. You gotta jab, you gotta set that stuff up, man. He's won these huge swings and all that. That might work for some, you know, some B leaguers and stuff like, and or you might catch the Hail Mary thing, but yeah. But he was up against the cage. Dos Santos was throwing down, dislocated his shoulder, and granted, De Castro immediately advised the ref of what was going on, and match was stopped. De Castro won, and he was running around like a maniac, saying how he won this thing and this and that. If he didn't dislocate his shoulder, unless you did something dramatic and that went to the decision, you would have lost that fight. So there's no yeah, you won on the cards, but what you should have been saying is, yeah, man, we need to run that back again still. I only won in essence because of that injury. So yeah, bit of a strange one. Co-main event, Hector Lombard went up to 205 to take on Thiago Silva, who had he's got lots of experience, 21-9, and Hector's 34, 10-1. Now, both gentlemen, I think Tiago more infamously has history in regards to performance enhancing drugs and that kind of stuff. But I don't think there's any question of that of latter days of these days. So it was a co-main event, and it was an entertaining back and forth. Um, until and who would I say was actually winning that? It's interesting. Um, I don't know. Was I think Hector may have been winning it just by a smidge, but then Thiago kneed him, bloodied his nose and mouth up whilst he was on the ground. So it ends with a no contest due to an illegal knee. And Thiago's up there rubbing his eyes, saying, "My man's a baby. You should have continued. You should have continued." And all this foolishness. Uh, Problem with this, I like the setup. I think they could have more fans in there. There's not really much of an atmosphere going on. Um, there was a bit of an issue, and I know it's an up and coming promotion, but we need to sort out the audio and some of the transitions and stuff. We couldn't really hear much what was going on in the cage. Uh, but overall, it's an interesting promotion. Uh, Someone fought at this super light heavyweight, and who was it again? Who was it? Who was it? And he would cause. Was it Islam? Islam Magadov? Yeah, he defeated Zach Zane in the first round with a by submission rear naked choke, 21-2. That Kevin Lee, unless you step your game up, because he just about won that thing against Diego Sanchez, you would lose, brother. Um, I need to see massive improvements in your next fight, whoever that may be against, because these young guns out here, and you're not even old, these young guns and these Dagestan guys who are dealing with Habib and all that, they're a problem for a lot of people, man. They are a problemo.